Hello, I'm Ash, and this is a two-parter Dragon Age feature. The first part is all about the Dragon Age Inquisition information from PAX Australia, and the second part is a commentary about the elements of choice in Dragon Age Inquisition and future Bioware games. If you already know what happened in PAX Australia, click the link on screen or in the description to fast forward to my choices commentary. Also, captions should be available, so feel free to turn that on at your leisure. At PAX Australia, Bioware held a mini-panel regarding Inquisition. Based off news reports by ElitePinecone and the Bioware forums, as well as HD3 on the Dragon Age Wiki, the panel went more in depth into what we saw at E3 earlier this June. The area that we see varric in the beginning of the trailer is a village that was, quote, wiped out due to the Inquisitor's decisions, or lack thereof. Decisions matter. That's the main drive throughout Inquisition that we'll see. Like I mentioned in my past primer for Inquisition, the conflict between Empress Selene and Grand Duke Gaspard is confirmed by Patrick Weeks to be significant in the next game. Orlais has always been a huge feature in thedas, but now with the developers admitting Orlais's power struggle, Morrigan's Orlesian attire in the trailer, and the book Cassandra prepping the attitude going into the game, we're able to define what chaos is about to come. Also representing my last trailer breakdown video, the fortress does have the Great Wardens being attacked. The fortress that is specifically being attacked by Cassandra and a group of soldiers. The environments will be expanded where we could see most of thedas shown, as exploration is what the designers hope to bring back. The dialogue wheel is being reworked, with the ideas in mind that players despise the paraphrasing in DA2, as well as the auto-dialogue that was shown in Mass Effect 3. The designers are pulling their best efforts in order to make the experience fun, where players can choose how to interact with characters, where some answers may seem the appropriate response but are actually cruel gestures, and vice versa. And more importantly for veteran players, save files are being worked on, decisions will carry across, but Bioware is still not revealing anything. If you want to read all the notes for yourself, check out the links in the description. This last blurb is a bit of my own observations, and I could very well be wrong or leading into something that doesn't really exist. But in the website coding on the Bioware page for DragonAge.com refers to the Inquisitor or the lead protagonist as hero. We can make grand assessments about what this entails, but while we always call the Origins protagonist Warden Commander and the Hawke as the champion, it's curious as to why the Inquisitor is referred to as hero. It could just be a placeholder, or it could give a certain frame to the uplifting image we'll see the Inquisitor at the start of the game. Or it could be a placeholder. In any case, moving on to the next part. It's so good not to talk in news voice. Hello again. Before we start, just a little bit of warning. So I will talk a lot about story and spoilers from both Mass Effect and Dragon Age. So you've been warned. I suggest you turn away if you haven't played the games yet. And so we come to choice. So earlier I read RockPaperShotgun's article on PAX Australia Bioware, and their pre-existing notions on Bioware's push towards more in-depth, provocative consequences. So something that bothers me about this article, and it's a consistent bother not only in media, but in the attitudes of a lot of different players, is this brutal casting of Bioware as a negligent author of choices that, in their eyes, produces no impactful endings. It may be natural given that the Mass Effect 3 drama that happened, like 2 years ago? But have continued to scorn and pervade through future titles. It's kind of unfair, especially with Montreal and Edmonton's separated studios, and the transparent pushes towards taking care of their games, like pushing the release date for another year and the different sprint review days. All of it is based off what they learned from the disaster that was Mass Effect 3's original ending and DA2's monotonous gameplay. But what I wanted to talk about today is how we perceive choice and what we're asking for, what is tangible, rational, what is even achievable in this day and age, and what standards we're looking for. And I'm not just talking about, oh, I want blue babies kind of thing, and beyond simply pandering to the audience's whims, while bridging the story's ongoing plot and the player's feelings and expectations. Now, we're already in a world that already has choices designated. We're going to be carrying our decisions from Origins and 2 over into Dragon Age Inquisition, or Also, there is a canon that exists with Alistair's king, Liliana's live and well, Standish Airshok, etc., etc. We long for the choices that will deepen with the overhaul of the dialogue system. We expect Inquisition to facilitate our actions throughout this story, and rightfully so, but we come bringing tidings of animosity. I shouldn't say tidings of animosity, but basically we bring this animosity coming in, the demons and like the hatred that we still hold in our hearts based off what we saw in Mass 3 and DA 2. Well, Inquisition is not a finale. We sit and anticipate that it's just going to go to shit, that the decisions won't provide the significance that we want. We anticipate disappointment. That's where I think we have problems. We're already jaded. We're already fixated on this notion that we are going to be disappointed. We directed our anger towards wanting on-screen confirmation of our own expectations and fanfictions to come to fruition. Like, the developers of Mass 3 they revisited the ending 3 times before they gave up. I shouldn't say gave up, they stopped revising what was there. Now, personally, I think it's kind of a dick thing to expect, but it acts through entitlement. Or I shouldn't say entitlement, but more of, are you going to get your $60 worth? Are you going to get what you want out of the story? In DA2, most of us sat on our hands as other protagonists kind of acted against us or for us. If you sided with Sebastian, you killed Anders. If you don't kill Anders, well, Sebastian's going to come back and he's vowing for revenge for Starkhaven and Chantry. But then again, Anders is a murderer, so no matter what his intent to show the circle as a construct of injustice, you know, it's also going to lead into, if you're in a romance with him, you save the one and you run away, but at what cost does that expense the future people struggling over hate over mages for blowing up the Chantry, even though it was just Anders? Based on the world that we must now revisit in a different pair of shoes, in the Inquisitor's eyes and actions, are our choices going to matter? Are they going to be impacted better than a simple good or bad? You know, nothing is black or white. Will we see more gray? Bioware reports that they're retuning the dialogue system to avoid the monotony. Now, you may say yay, and you may say nay, but both excuse me, but both decisions have repercussions that you may despise down the line. As the Inquisitor, you struggle against the world that is set forth by your past choices, your choices as the Warden Commander, and your choices as Hawke. But what actions will persist throughout the world, and what will gravitate towards the ending of your choice, and the emphasis on your choice? Think of it this way, Anders blowing up the Chantry. That's the example I want to use. It's inevitable. He's going to do it. But what the game revolves around is you're dealing with the consequences, or at least the consequences of your helping it or lack thereof. Will your actions handle Anders? Will they actually take effect? Do they matter to the Inquisitor? Will we see empathy or apathy for those affected whenever it comes to Inquisition? These choices in the past, will they come to a conclusion? While most people hated in Mass 3 and what they're attributing to BioWare's future games, and of course Inquisition in this case, it's that, are we expecting disappointment if we don't get an absolute ending? If we don't get a solidified ending or the complete tale? It's going to be obvious that we're going to see different variables control the future of thedas, and obviously the developers are going to be overwhelmed at one point, but we seek solace for every possibility. Now, I talk in the first part of this video about how in the Inquisition trailer, Varric visits a burned down village because of the Inquisitor's lack of actions. Yes, it's tragic, it's awful, but what causes the event to happen? How many variables preceded the decision to help? Was it a simple yes-no? Was there a conflict of interest? Was there no time? One of the things that in Mass Effect 2 was that you had to choose whether to save that one town, or that one settlement. If you don't, you just basically like cut the comm and then you just walk away. You know, it's also in Inquisition. How does this affect the plot and the endgame compared to another happening at the same time? Let me explain as this. So, I'm the Inquisitor. I did not meet the call for help, so the entire village is completely dead. It's tragic, yes, it's sad. But in the beginning, does that village affect me down the line? Were there quest givers living there? Was there a back door into a treasure trove? Was there magic that was completely untouched that I had to go there? Was it Lyrium? You know, it may be traffic. It may be tragic, but within saving this village lies in sympathy. Why would I have any? Why would I divert from the main goal? It could just be another loathering. We as players are facing what I like to call the simple carrot on a stick play. A villager may come to us and say, "Oh, please help me," and usually you don't care, but then you hear, "Oh, I'll give you a sack of gold," and you accept begrudgingly, and then you just proceed with quests. But what I'm seeing right now is that players are tuned from Mass Effect 3, from Mass Effect 2, from Mass Effect 1, and then also Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2. They're seeing this as they're gonna proceed, they're gonna change from players who don't care about the gold or what the gold can give them. What can persuade that player who has seen it all to care even further if they don't see the significance in their actions? Now, the foreshadowing of necessity to keep that village alive, whether it be for a gigantic army, a thriving economy, I think players are going to be asking more these days. Can we see it? Can we have something that we need to fight for? Like, what if Isabella lived in that town, and by ignoring it, you get rid of Hawke's love? Like, the 30 hours that you put in Dragon Age 2, connecting him and her, and enjoying her and Hawke's life, that was all you. And then all of a sudden you had to change that. It deepens the story, yes, it's not a bad thing. I like the idea of deepening the story and the different consequences that you can have. It's actually an awesome thing. But at what point do we sit and antagonize a game based off the fallouts of past games? How long do we take a game and attribute our notions of disappointment before the game even comes out? Becoming dissatisfied with the story, even if it turns great because the choices weren't deep enough. How many layers do we have to go in order to be satisfied? Or worse, if it turned into a black hole with like gargantuan selection of choices, but like it does not appease the gamer. I see huge problems in this because of what shaped it so like thus far with Bioware games. I can see good in a player saying, or a player going from questioning, am I in this world? Am I really in this world, or am I just going to get a piece of candy and be sent on my way? And then them shifting into the idea of, I affect the world around me with my actions controlling my fate. What worries me right now is the following. Are we already set on a path of dissatisfaction due to our expectations? I remember the days whenever Mass Effect 3, just general Mass Effect, was fresh in everyone's hearts, and not only were fans upset, but they were upset after Bioware's repeated attempts at deepening the choices, multiple times. The extended cut, giving a true goodbye to Shepard's love and explanation for each choice, synthesis and destroy and control. And not only that, but a refusal. And then sending off Anderson and exploring the future of the galaxy's citizens. And then the Citadel DLC, which gave way longer interactions with all the squad mates from the trilogy, not just 3, but 1 and 2. You know, the choices that we make, well, they have to be repeatedly expanded again and again by Bioware, by other developers, while other games have to pander to the audience to satisfy the selfish desire to complete all flagged outcomes to every single and minute detail. The present environment, in players' minds as well as media, is still rich and intoxicated with floating generalizations of choice. Not everything is solved in one take, of course, but then again, not every point needs to be satisfied to a full rationalization. Will we inflict further wounds for the sake of having our own personal subjective ending? Are we going to antagonize a developer purely so we can get our blue babies? Bioware's transparency in expressing their realization for change through sprint review days and the convention panels, I think, go unnoticed as voices continue to sift and stagnate through old conceptions. You have RockPaperShotgun and like Kotaku and like other different ones that still perpetuate this kind of not hate, but dismay for future games. It's setting up this kind of score of angst. We will have the choice, and hopefully it will extend to a satisfaction that players can accept. I hope that we can can come to peace with not only Dragon Age but other games where we can correct past mistakes, and yes, but go to accept rational possibilities. That we can accept the efforts of studios going, we're here to make a game, just wait for us, we'll make it good for you. Like, I'm sitting here hoping that can be the case. But that's just my take on things. So if you're sitting in the same boat as me, or think I'm a raving idiot, I'd like to know what you think. Write a little bit in the comment section down below, and we can talk. In any case, my name is Ash, and I hope to hear your side of things. In any case, take care.